Hello, everybody. How's it going? It is Brandon, and welcome back to Marotta Media. And today I have a very special guest to do an interview with. I have one of the not the hosts, one of the stars of the Amazon Prime series Company Retreat. I'm here with Jerry Hauck, who played Doug Womack in the show. And Jerry, thanks for doing this.
Hi, Brandon. Happy to be here. It's great. It's great to be with you.
Yes, I was I said this off camera, but I was very surprised and happy to see that you saw my video review on TikTok because it never ceases to amaze me. Well, it does continue to amaze me, but it shouldn't, just how many people have seen my stuff and reached out because I
It's
just
great.
find yeah, I find it so amazing. But when you commented, I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity because I really want to talk about this show because I have a lot of questions about it, as I'm sure most people do, because it's a pretty um, insane show to plan and put together.
It's
So,
so insane. It's unbelievable. So yeah,
yes,
there are so many. Even I still have questions, and I did it.
yeah, you were there, and I
Yeah.
imagine you yourself have questions, but so I guess like one thing I was curious about, I saw the full show, and actually before this, I was watching. I think they might have just put it out. I watched the special where Anthony and Ronald from Jury Duty met up at a diner. I was just watching that before this.
Yeah, that's a behind the scenes.
Yeah,
So that comes right before the reunion episode with James Marsden.
yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that as well. But and I saw the full show, and in the last episode we see how it all works. But how much planning with like in terms of time frame, how long did that take?
An incredible amount of planning. Now, not including me. I mean, they
Hmm.
showed you that they go back. It went back 3 years when they got the idea. Then they
Hmm.
had to build the company. They had to build the retreat area and do all that before they got into the casting. And that casting was May of 2024, probably. When they.
That's when you were cast?
Oh no, that's when I did my first audition. I sent
Okay.
in a videotape, an
Yeah.
improv videotape,
Hmm.
and then 2.5 months later is when I found out that I had the job. So it was
Okay.
it was excruciating. And then
Yeah.
we had to go. Now, are you asking also about like rehearsal time and preparation in that regard?
Yeah, like just basically from when you were cast
Yeah.
to when you first met Anthony, like how
Okay.
long was that?
Yes. Well, there was over a month of rehearsal and also character planning. Like Alex Bonifer, the fantastic actor
Hmm.
who plays my son. We
Hmm.
had to, because Rockin' Grandma is a real person. This person right here, she's real. She was my grandmother in the show. So Alex and I had to create a family tree that went back 100 years,
Hmm.
and we had to know everybody. We had to know our grandparents, great grandparents, aunts, uncles,
Yeah.
nieces. We had a family tree that we would constantly test each other on. Then we also had to learn the 20-year history of Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce Company that I started
Hmm.
with. My first employee that I hired or who joined me was Helen, played by
Yeah.
Stephanie Hodge. She's also fantastic. So we had to know who was hired, when, what they did, the idiosyncrasies of each character, who comes late, who gives people a hard time, who's this, who's that, who's been in rehab, like Jim Weber. And
Hmm.
and then after that, we had to pretend that we knew how to run a hot sauce company. I don't know anything about this stuff. We
Yeah.
were complete frauds in that regard. But we took seminars, we had meetings with real hot sauce guys that told us the different terminology for all of the bottles and the cases and everything. They have special names.
Hmm.
Just so being around Anthony in our office, which we were for 2 days, was
Yeah.
second. So finally, then we went to the retreat and we rehearsed and rehearsed for a few weeks, because, and then as we rehearsed, a lot, the scripts were there. We had script. It's a scripted comedy,
Yeah.
but the script was fluid. It was changing all the time with
Hmm.
things we said. And then, of course, we had Hero was the name for Anthony in our scripts, and they
Yeah.
would say Hero says this or Hero suggests we do that. Well, you don't know it. There were many, many times where he didn't do that.
Hmm.
So to answer your question, it was probably at least a month and a half of getting ready before we shot.
Okay, that's not honestly, I was expecting you to say way longer, like I don't know, maybe 6 months or
Right.
something like that.
No, this was just from the actors' point of view, from us
Yeah.
getting hired actors. But
You,
the preparation was a year and a half before
oh
that.
yeah, the preparation for sure, but yeah, I because I
Mm-hmm.
thought the preparation for you guys because that does kind of lead into a question I had because yeah, this is because for jury duty, which I assume you watched and a lot of people
Sure. Yeah.
watched it, yeah, and it was a
Yes.
great show, but
Great.
the preparation for that for the actors was probably nothing because they're on a jury. They don't know each other, so
Right.
they're all meeting each other for the first time. But like you said, you guys are running a hot sauce company, and all of those people that work for the hot sauce company had been there at least a year. So yeah, as I was watching, I was thinking, so these people need to memorize like these people's backstories, their families, what
Exactly.
their dreams are. So, and I couldn't imagine having to remember all that info. So, did you ever find that difficult to remember all the world building and character backstories that you guys built?
We were. It was very highly. There was a lot of pressure
Hmm.
when we came into we met at an office building just to read scripts, and when we started out, the producer said to us like, okay, this Friday you're doing a 5 minute monologue on your character. And
Hmm.
then the next week they said, okay, now you're doing a 10-minute monologue on your character. You're going to tell us, speak for 10 minutes about who you are. So the pressure was always there,
Yeah.
you know. So, and I had the benefit of being, a guy pushing 70 who's trying to retire. If I can't remember something, I just would say, I'm old, I'm senile. So
Yeah.
senior moments. But for the most part, it was all pretty ingrained, and we were all pretty attuned. We all had each other's backs, which was the great thing about this. We're an ensemble. We're just this
Yeah.
incredible ensemble of actors who are so smart and so caring and so giving that that all made it much easier for us.
Yeah, because it definitely gave the vibe like excuse me, like you guys were really close because and I mean that's part of the illusion is because if you guys work for a company and you've known each other for years, you are basically like a little family and I think you guys did a really good job with that. But it also comes across like I mean, it's obvious that you guys were probably having a blast doing this because I
Excuse me. Yes and no, because the pressure was so incredible. Every
mhm,
minute Anthony was
definitely.
there, or you don't even know if he's around a corner somewhere, what he can hear,
Mhm.
um, or what he can see. From the minute I woke up at 6:30 in the morning to when I went to bed at 10 o'clock at night, I had to be Doug Womack, and I had any slip of the tongue. I mean, if I turn to like I mentioned, Alex Bonifer, the fantastic actor who plays my son. If I
Mhm.
turn to him, he's Dougie Jr., and if I say, "Hey, Alex," in front of Anthony, the show is over, man. They're packing up the cameras and going home. So
Yeah.
there any tiny thing. There was one scene, one time where the camera was hidden like behind a mirror or a glass
Mhm.
partition, and the camera light was on. So you could
Mm.
see the camera standing there, behind it. And then the actors saw that, Lanisa and Mark Sully saw it, and they ran over there and stood in front of it. Anthony was 10 feet away. And then they
Yeah.
got word because they were mic'd, I think, and they said, "Hey, there's a camera here. Everybody can see it." So they were able to um, just keep our eyes out.
Yeah. Because I I went back and watched the reveal episode for jury duty the other day because I was like I wanted to compare the reveals for both of them. And
Alan
I
Barinholtz
what's
is
that?
the judge. Alan Barinholtz, who played the judge in jury duty,
Yeah.
and he does the reveal. So
Yeah, and
he's great.
in one of the but in the reveal episode there was a part where the woman who plays the bailiff, she slips up and she said, "Is that Cassandra's bag?" And Cassandra was the name of one of the actors that wasn't her
Right,
character. And you see Ronald is very confused, like, who's Cassandra?
right.
And but they were really quick on their feet and they created this whole new character named Cassandra.
Correct.
Was there any moments like that during company retreat where someone screwed up and you're just like, oh, how do we fix it? Because you need to fix it right then and there. Was there any moment
Well,
like that?
what you saw, you've seen it in
Hmm.
the eighth episode where the notary comes and the window is down. He's supposed
Yes,
to
yes,
lock
yes.
the car. That was crazy. Now, what happened
Hmm.
was that I had just ran from a different area into the business center because Anthony and Dougie Jr. are coming, right?
Hmm.
So I get in there, we get seated. They're like, "Get ready to go, Doug." And so I said, then all of a sudden they say, "Doug, we got a problem here. It's going to be a few minutes." And they were dealing with this tremendous issue of the window being down, which would
Yeah,
all Anthony would do, put his arm in, unlock the door, and then we couldn't do that. That wouldn't work.
yeah.
So that was probably the biggest the most crucial issue that it came across.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, was there ever a time where you or another actor may have slipped up, said something you weren't supposed to, but even though it was a mistake, it does, and it was frantic, it does seem like the window is kind of an easy fix because if I was in Anthony's shoes in that moment and I noticed the window was open and I came back and it was closed, I probably would have been like, oh, it was closed the whole time.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, so it seemed like something that was very easy to fix in the moment. So I'm glad there wasn't ever a moment where someone slipped up and said something to Anthony that shouldn't have been said to ruin
Right.
your guys' cover.
Well, along those same lines, it didn't occur, but when I was sitting there with Wendy Braun, with the fantastic actress who was the evil Trucus
The Trucus
person,
CEO.
yeah, yes, um, we did not know what he was going to do when he came through that door. The scene you see is real. You know what I
Yes.
mean? We had actually been kind of preparing him to slap the pen out of my hand. That was kind of the idea. It was almost like a mantra within the side aside on the show was that we even did a seminar where people slapped things out of my hands because I was
Hmm.
doing a bad deal. So when he came through that door, he could have said, "Hey, your son is hurt. He's injured outside. You have to come outside." Or anything could have happened. We didn't
Hmm.
know. So the potential of the fantastic ending we were hoping for possibly could never have happened. It could have just
Yeah.
ended in a real thud,
Hmm.
but fortunately he came through that door and I had the wisdom to just keep my mouth shut and
Yeah.
let him tell his story, you know, tell him. And he had these lines, father to father. Are
Yeah.
you going to listen to the temp? I
Hmm.
mean, the 10 writers on the show could never have come up with something that good.
Yeah. Well, I was actually saving that question for
Oh,
last, but no, no,
sorry.
no, you're totally fine. I can't because it's a perfect segue right into it because I I remember as I was watching that scene when Anthony is like pleading for you not to sell over the rights to Rockin' Grandma's to Trucus. I was sitting there and I was like, I feel oddly moved by this
Sure.
because, and I think that's like what is so great about these shows is because it kind of showcases the best of humanity because Ronald in Jury Duty had several moments like that, and Anthony did as well,
Yes.
especially at the end when he's talking to you and he's like right in your face. They're like begging you not to do this. And I know in the reveal episode, you said that you yourself, you in real life, you are a father. And
Correct.
when Anthony said to you, father to father, like I can't remember exactly what he said after that, but don't do this. Did you find it really hard to keep your composure in that moment?
No.
No,
No,
okay.
no, because my character really didn't understand what was going on at the time. And
Hmm.
I wanted to sign. I want to sign that deal because my goal from
Yes.
day one was to retire, take
Hmm.
care of all the employees, make sure they're okay, and get out, So him coming in and saying that at the time without an explanation was kind of out of context. So I wasn't really moved by it. But I'll tell you, when I saw it, for the first time we had when we watched the show just last month like I was
Hmm.
crying like a baby.
Hmm.
I thought, oh my god, this is so awesome. But in the moment it's a different mindset.
Well, then that really speaks to your professionalism then, because that's another moment where I was imagining myself, like, if I was in this moment, I feel like my true self would come out and I would have a difficult time keeping my composure because his words were just so pure and passionate and he spoke with just such wisdom. I I probably would. I mean, I'm not an actor, so it's easy for me to say. So I probably would have broken that moment and been like, and done something I probably shouldn't have.
Yeah, so, well, I don't know if it would be something you probably shouldn't have. It would have been something different. But for
Yes.
me, like I said, I had my goals and what I was trying to do. So it wasn't a matter of keeping my composure.
Hmm.
It was a matter of of having him convince me,
Hmm.
which he eventually did.
Yes, definitely. And so you play the CEO of a hot sauce company. So the amount of research we already went over, like going into every character, did you do any research like about hot sauce or the attitudes or just how certain CEOs act? Did you do any
Yes,
kind of
we
research
we
like
did
that?
seminars with actual CEOs of hot sauce companies, all of them,
Okay.
and he did. He talked about how he deals with salespeople, and like you say, attitudes,
Hmm.
and the troublemakers, and the issues that come up in a typical day's work that drive a guy who has a hot sauce company crazy.
Hmm.
So that was all really great, and so we all applied our knowledge to that. But at the same time, if somebody actually stuck us in a hot sauce company, we couldn't get coffee. I mean, we'd be like, it was a ruse, you know.
And that was something else, because I mentioned this in my review. Um, One thing I was curious about is how you guys got away with the fact that this was a real company. And because I mentioned that when I'm applying to a company, I like to look into that company and see what it's all about. And obviously, the main place you're going to find that is on a company website. Was there a Rockin' Grandma's company
They put
website
up a Rockin'
created?
Grandma's site up on Instagram, and I don't know if you've seen over the last 24 hours, but I posted a baseball video. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I did actually see it briefly before we
Okay,
got
well,
on.
what they did was we're out and we're rehearsing out in the Agora Hills, and a producer says to me, "Hey, man, do you want to fly to Oakland tonight?" And they have the Oakland Ballers, are a semi-pro or a minor league team. They're having a playoff game, and they want to have you come out as Doug Womack and do the first ceremonial first hit. They like they do a first pitch at normal games.
Hmm.
They
Yeah.
do the first match. Well, this was the first hit. So
Hmm.
they fly me up there as Doug Womack. Rockin' Grandma's is on the Jumbotron. And the guy's saying, "Hey, Doug Womack here. He's going to play, from Rockin' Grandma's Hot Sauce. It's a great song. You'll see it when you see it." But
Hmm.
they did that to have the video posted on Instagram. So in case he or his family are looking around, well, it's, oh, well, there's the guy. He's in Oakland at a baseball game. The company has to be real. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a great ruse, or a great it was a great thing to establish the fact that the company did in fact exist.
Yes, definitely. Because I figured something like that was made, but I was like, I wanted to know more about that. If there was a website or a social media presence that they faked just to sell the
That's Yes, they
illusion.
did. You were able to buy the sauce, the thing, and all kinds of articles about me. Receiving awards. Over the years, and different things that events that occurred to promote the hot sauce over in the last 20 years. But the thing was, I can say it now. Anybody who was really smart would notice that everything was posted kind of at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
It was all like uh, with it. They all have the same dates when it was up. So, but the whole idea was to have him not really see that. That's why we got his phone out of his hand. And plus, they vet these guys, and
Hmm.
they know how much TV they watch, how much time they spend on the internet, who their favorites are, this and that. So, and then we get that phone out of his hand. in a ceremonial phone giving up thing at the
Yeah.
retreat, and so we hope that he's not able to really look into it, and hope that his family isn't digging too deep as well.
Yeah, well, in the one I was just watching, the episode where he met Ronald, he said that his mom was very suspicious because he called home constantly, and his mom seemed like this all seems very, very odd.
Hey, I met her at the at a cast and crew screening, and she's just this incredible woman and sharp as a tack. Her and Aunt, they're both very smart people. So yeah, I could see how that would have been the case. But the other thing was, and we've talked about this before, is when with all this craziness, that we shot 3,800 hours of film,
Hmm.
3,800 to make 4 hours. So that's like 100 to 1 that to make the show, right?
Yeah.
So so in those times, we're at that retreat. There were hours and days and long stretches of time where nothing was going on. And with the comical seminars, they also had these boring seminars where you could barely stay awake. Long afternoons playing softball, people by the pool taking naps. It was just like, and then there would be like a seminar at night, like candle making, sound. What do they call that? Sound baths. We did all that stuff. So there was time to bring him back to reality whenever we thought things might be pushing it a little too far.
Mhm. And something else I wanted to ask though is when you because you said as soon as you woke up to the end of the day, you obviously had to be Doug Womack, but if Anthony wasn't ever around, did you guys, if there were multiple of you, did you stay in character and talk to each other like your characters, or did you just become yourselves? Like, what did you
Well,
do
we
when
didn't
Anthony
ever
wasn't there?
become ourselves. We didn't become ourselves because we didn't know each other's names.
Mm,
We didn't know each other's names until after we were finished with Anthony,
mm,
which was pretty incredible. I remember we did the reveal with Anthony, and they were taking him. They showed him all over the place. Then there was an ice cream truck there, a big ice cream truck given, to make ice creams for everybody. And I saw the guy who plays Kevin, the actor who plays Kevin, Ryan Perez, who at the time I didn't know his name, and I'm looking at my ice cream. He's got his, and I said, "What is your name?" And he goes, "I'm Ryan." I said, "Oh man, Ryan." I said, "I'm Jerry." And we shook hands. We'd been working together for 2.5 months. And the scripts that we would get only had character names on them. They didn't have actor names on them.
Now I'm curious if there's going to be like more seasons because I feel if more people become familiar, will they even be able to get away with something like this? Do you think they would be able to?
Oh, I think it's worth trying, but
Mm,
again, it'll be 3 years. That's how
yeah.
long it takes. I waited 16 months for the show to get on the air from the time I wrapped. And that's how
Hmm.
long we waited, because the editing process is so ridiculously difficult. They
Definitely.
have to they have to decide on the narrative they want, the story they want to tell, the jokes they want to have in there,
Hmm.
with this ocean of material. So it's definitely between preparation, shooting it, and then the post. It's a 3-year deal.
Hmm. Yeah, I can't imagine because you're probably feeling very anxious. Like, I want to see this for myself. I want to show this to people, this big
Oh
show that I was a part of.
yeah, and Brandon, I had to sign an NDA. I couldn't talk about it.
Oh, yeah, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, and Ronald and that cast did the same thing. Ronald talks about that for 14 months he didn't say a word to his
Mm.
family. No one knew.
Mm.
So pretty
Yeah,
crazy. At least I was
yeah.
able to tell my wife, and
Yeah, I was like close confidants like that, like someone like your wife who you see every day. I feel like that would probably be okay because then as long as she didn't go and tell it to anybody else.
yeah, she knew not to.
Yeah.
But I'm
And
like, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm in this show, the first series regular I've ever been in my life, and I can't tell anybody.
yeah.
So,
I
but time passes.
that was probably yeah, difficult. Um but and you've mentioned Alex Bonifer a lot, who played your son, Dougie Womack
The
Jr.
best, the
It,
best.
I'm going to assume he was probably your favorite person to work with in the show, if not to like just that it wasn't fun to work with everybody.
No, I understand what you're saying because he was my son and we were closest and we had the most interaction between
Hmm.
each other and the most the arc of each character we kind of intersected. So yeah, I would say that. And Alex is he was in character. I mean,
Hmm.
he had new hair, a beard, and he was impenetrable. He's a groundlings guy. This is a guy who's been doing this kind of thing for probably 20 years,
Hmm.
maybe 25, but 20. And so he's just so fantastic, and he really helped me a lot. You know what I mean? He really helped me because if I, as a dad, am trying to figure out where he's coming from, it just made my acting that much easier.
Yeah, and when I saw the tape he sent in, because I'm sure you remember, there's a just your little intro when you guys sent your audition tapes, and I saw how he really looks, and I'm like, oh, I like him with the long blonde hair and the beard.
Right.
It really fits him really, really well, and I personally found the relationship that the writers created for you guys to be hilarious because. At, I mean, I don't judge anyone who may do this, but as a grown man, I would never kiss my father on the lips. But the fact that the writers did that, I thought that was just
Well, that was
hilarious.
that was actually Alex's idea.
Was it? Okay.
Yes, he went to the producers and the writers with the idea, and he thought that it would be very, very, it would explain or be indicative of how mentally he hasn't got beyond that childish point in a person's life. He never really became a man.
Hmm.
And so they came to me and I said, "Hey, whatever you guys want, let's go for it." Like I said in the show, Alex is a big guy. If he wants to
Hmm.
kiss, you're getting kissed.
Yeah, well, that makes it even better that it was his idea because I thought that was very funny, and because I remember the first time you guys did that, I think there's like a shot of Anthony where he's
Yes,
kind of
yeah,
like, okay, like that's
right,
interesting, but whatever,
right.
it's their thing.
And that's the reaction we were hoping for, where he
Yeah,
just kind of figures it out. And, well, his dad and his son, and then they would think, well, that can't be two actors. No two actors are going to do that.
yeah. Well, and then he
So
says, he said when he met Ronald that when other Anthony and what Amy, yeah, I believe was
yes,
the
yes,
character's name. Yeah, when
yeah,
they're kissing at the restaurant, he learns that they were both married, and he says, "I could never be married to an actor for that reason."
right, right. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I saw in the episode where Anthony meets Ronald from jury duty that there was a lot of unseen footage. So can you tell us what was perhaps the craziest thing that we didn't get to see in the actual show?
Uh, it wouldn't be a thing; it would be things. It was the seminars
Okay.
with different. They had some of the funniest actors that were running the seminars. I mean, you saw Lisa Gilroy, right? She
Hmm.
did the one where there we had these notes under our seats, and it was like the rudest comments. And you might not, but the actress Lisa Gilroy.
I
She was
think
with the
so.
glasses. She's
Uh,
pretty well known.
she's who?
Pretty well known, and also
Oh.
Dan Peralt did a he was hilarious. And do you know Lauren Ash from Superstore, the actress?
Perhaps I've seen a few seasons of Superstore, but I've never watched it from start to
Okay,
finish.
well, anyway, she's made this gigantic. I actually did Superstore, and I worked with her for 2 days.
Mm.
The character was very frumpy, and pretty big.
Uh-huh.
Uh, she's made this over the 5 years or so, this incredible transformation where she has lost so much weight. She's got blonde hair. She's absolutely gorgeous. So she comes to do our seminar, and I didn't make the connection. I had no idea that it was her. And she was so incredibly funny that I had these pangs of like recognition, like Matt Damon, as Jason Bourne getting his memory back. But I never had quite put it together until Alex Bonifer said later, "So that's Lauren Ash," and I'm like, "Oh no!" But so and the guy, you know, the guy that talked about his testicles, you know, being
Yeah,
frozen,
that was hilarious.
he's another. Just these people are so talented. So it really was the trying to not break character in front of Anthony when these people were so funny. And so as a result, what I would do, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm in my room and I'm cackling like ah, think about the stuff. I'm keeping the wildlife awake, you know, in the mountains because it was so funny.
Oh, well, you were in your room at
Yeah,
in
middle of the
the
night,
Oh, okay. I thought you
thinking
meant like
about
while you
these
were just
people.
watching it. Yeah,
No,
that's even funnier then.
you know, and also the other actors too. I mean, Rachel Colley as Claire. I mean, she would do things just her. She was hilarious. Jim,
Hmm.
Jim Woods as Jim Weber as Jim Woods or Jim Woods. Anyway, Jim,
Yeah,
fantastic. Rob Lathan, hilarious. You know, the guy, other Anthony.
other Anthony.
I mean, these people are so incredibly funny. And you can go all the way down the line. This cast did not have a weak link. I mean, everybody was just fantastic. So we were constantly overjoyed and entertained, but at the same time mindful of the fact that we had this gigantic thing we had to do. You know, even right now, I'm thinking to myself, we pulled it off. And as time passes by, I don't accept it more. I accept it less. It's like, how do we do that? We could not.
Hmm. Something that I would have definitely lost my composure at is it's on one of the bottles in front of you with the Rockin'
Oh,
Grandma sign, yet that says like the jerk off sauce,
I don't
and
know if that's
she
backwards or not.
no, I
So,
could see it,
oh, good.
and the sign, and she's playing the guitar, but her hands just going like this. It was like that's so freaking funny. I don't know how anybody got through that. Was that difficult to not laugh during that moment?
Well, not for me because I'm the dad and he's
Hmm.
really blown it, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
And what I it looks like what I'm going to do because it's so hilariously funny, and I have to, as serious as a heart attack, say to him, "Turn that thing off." You know, the thing.
Yes.
Turn. Can you turn that thing off? So it's like I'm disgusted here. So that scene, I had to play it like a dad and somebody whose company was literally at stake.
Hmm.
So, and
Totally.
then the great thing about that scene, though, was I thought is that first it looks like I'm throwing him under the bus. I'm saying, hey, my son wanted to do this all by himself. He didn't want any help. Look at this. Look at him now and look at the mistake he made. But then I turn it around and say, hey, we all make mistakes.
Hmm.
You know, this is what makes us all better as people. I've made a million of them, but taste this sauce. This sauce is awesome. And then we forgive him and we, you know, declare him to be the new
Yeah.
CEO or the new president of Rockin' Grandma's, only to a half hour later find out he's put taco sauce.
Yeah. He- that was a great scene because of the way it's set up because they can hear you through the like the air vents. So and I'm curious how you and Alex, who played Dougie Jr., acted that scene out because you weren't seen. Did you still like go all out with your body language, or were you kind of just standing there?
um, no, he was sitting down in the corner and I
Mm,
was over him and I was from the balcony. I was just like screaming.
mm,
And they gave us they gave a bunch of things for me to say. I made up a bunch of things for me to say, you know, and they were going to pick and choose the ones we I had a million f bombs, man, at one point in time, and they needed to choose the right things for me to say that would affect Anthony the right way,
yeah,
you know, because he's the one listening to it, and then everybody else is like, oh well, let's go outside, but it had to be what came through that vent was what Anthony needed to either hear or not hear in order for us to move the story along. When I said we had a lot of fun while we
mm,
were yelling at each other, I mean, he did this
yeah.
thing. He was crying and sobbing
Oh,
and making these huge, oh, dad, dad, you know, or he'd be defiant, you know, I'd say, how could you use Taco Bell? And he's like, Taco Bell's the bomb, you know. It's like Taco Bell's the best. What do you mean? How could I use it? Don't. And then he doesn't use the Manzanos peppers, you know, the family tradition.
yeah.
I'm like, did you use the Manzanos? He goes, what are those? You know. So yeah, I
Oh,
had a line to him. I said, Dougie, we can't use Taco Bell in our sauce. We don't own Taco Bell. Taco Bell owns Taco Bell. So we had some fun.
I would have loved to have seen the takes of him crying. That sounds amazing.
Right. They're there.
I would have laughed hysterically if I saw that.
Yeah, they're there. It was really fun.
And then I also thought it was funny when Anthony and Dougie are going to throw the sign away and it's still on because they still don't know how to turn it off. Just leave it. It's fine. It's
Yeah, I mean
whatever.
that whole thing, and then they pay it off with putting Helen's Fitbit on it, to get her steps in.
Yeah, because she's getting her steps
Come
in.
on,
She's like, I found a way to do this. I was like, that's really funny.
yeah. So I went there and shot a video of the machine on. I posted it, somewhere weeks ago. But just go from the sky down to the Rockin' Grandma. That's just great.
hmm It and I just thought, did you guys actually have to give up your phones for real, or were
Yes.
you able to get them back later?
No, we gave them up, and we were giving them back in an hour.
Oh,
We gave
okay.
them up. Knock on the door. Here you go. Thank you very much.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, that would have really sold the
You know.
bit if you guys had to give them up. But at the same time, I was thinking, you guys as actors, even though you have a
Well,
job to do, you may
well,
want to be
we
like, I
have
want to.
wives and kids
Yeah,
and
exactly.
family
I
and
want to talk to my wife. I want to talk to
business.
my son. So
Right.
yeah, I was like, I that would be awesome to sell it that way if they really took away their phones. But at the same time, these people they're doing a job, and when you're away on a job, you probably want to talk to what the people that you're familiar with. So I'm
Not
glad
only
you
did
guys got
we,
your phones back.
thank you. Not only did we have phones, but we also had little Wi-Fi things in installed into our rooms. Wi-Fi. What do you call them? Modems.
Yeah,
They brought them in for us so we could have better phone reception.
and Anthony had nothing.
Anthony had nothing. No, no. He had no TV, no radio, no phone. Although he was able to call his family from
hmm
the business center. There were phones available for him to use.
Yeah, yeah, they
You
showed
know,
that in the unseen footage. He's clearly on a landline because some
right.
places still have landlines apparently. I guess it makes sense
Unbelievable.
if you're a business, I guess it makes sense to have a landline. But
Yeah.
has there been it's been at the time we're recording this, it's been a little over a month since the show
Yeah.
premiered, or close to a month. Have you gotten any kind of visceral reaction just like being out? Have you been recognized, or have people told you what they think of the show?
You know what? My whole life, people have said you look like my uncle. You look like somebody I know. You look just like this. So I kind of look like everybody. So I don't. I have not really gotten recognized
Hmm.
uh, very much, but I haven't gone out a lot. But I am an older dude, and it's different. It's different. So I'll keep you posted. But uh, the short answer is no. I'm not being recognized by anybody. In
Hmm.
fact, I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay, please do.
I go out to dinner the other night, and this is embarrassing for me. I go out to dinner the other night. This was after the podcast with Chris Kattan, right? And I'm feeling good. My
Hmm.
wife's at work till 10 o'clock. I got nothing to do. Let's go eat. So I go to this place, Italian place, and I'm having my dinner. And there's a large party of like 18 people, and they're right next to me, and they're all having a good time. And then one woman gets up with her phone and is going to take a picture of the whole table. And I
Yeah.
said, hey, let me take a picture of you guys. That way you can sit down. You'll be in the picture. Just let me do this for you. And they're like, oh my God, you're so nice. So I take it, and they said, I take 2 pictures, and they said, oh, thank you very much. And I said, listen, I got to ask you guys, since there's 18 of you here, has anybody seen Jury Duty Presents Company Retreat? And like 8 of these women that were in the front, they went, oh my God, yes, I love it. Oh, it's such a great show. I'm like, guys, I'm Doug. The guy that just took your picture is the head of that. It's my company, Rock. And then finally they all went, oh, 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 oh. And then they realized, and then, yeah, suddenly I was a star. But no, I had to like beg for recognition. That's what it's come down to, unfortunately.
Did they at least ask for pictures or something?
Oh yeah, I mean, they were once they knew, it was a different story.
And
So
did they freak out after that?
they were pretty impressed. That's all I want to say. They were very happy and thrilled, and they couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah, and have you because you guys did such a great job portraying like a work family, have you kept in touch with anybody from the cast or
Oh,
even Anthony?
we're all in touch, all
Oh,
of
that's
us,
good.
every day, even today. Um, we're all in touch. Alex Bonifer and Anthony appeared on the Today Show this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they did this really cool thing, that hot sauce, and with all the regulars there on the show. And so I sent Alex a text message immediately saying, "Oh, this is so great!" And then everybody put it on. We kind of have a WhatsApp chat group,
Hmm.
of the cast and crew and just the cast, and we're all over each other. I went to see Alex at the Groundlings and watch him perform. He's fantastic. And Ryan Perez, who plays Kevin, came with me. We had a ball, and so we're all friends, and we're all uh, in contact, including Anthony. I mean, he doesn't get to come out here as much because from Nashville, Tennessee. He lives back there with his family. But
Oh.
when he comes out here, I probably shouldn't have said where he's from. I think they know,
No, he
but
he says it in the show.
yeah, I think so. Okay, so uh, we are as close as can be.
Well, that makes me very happy because I've seen, stories of people, they just look at the people they work with on shows when specifically when you're acting, they just see them as co-workers. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but at the same time, it's a lot more personal, especially if you're doing something like this or if you were on a show like I don't know, Cheers that was on for so long. It seems impossible to not be not to not get close to these people because you work with them so closely every day. So it makes me happy that you guys have all stayed in touch like that.
Right. Well, what happened was when you do a show like that, like I was on Paradise, and at the end of the day, we all went home. But on Company Retreat, we never got to go home.
Yeah.
We had to stay, you know. So it was such a unique experience. And I've been in Los Angeles for over 40 years. In fact, my 40-year anniversary, I was shooting the show,
Oh wow.
and and this experience of doing this show is the greatest job an actor could ever have. I wish every actor could experience this because it really was. You know what? It's almost like Jerry Maguire when they say you complete me." The
Hmm.
famous line.
For
That's
sure.
kind of like this for me. This show completes me in a way. And not that I'm not going to go on and do other things, but
Hmm.
this makes it like, you know what? I did it. I made it finally.
Yeah, for sure. I was that because I just thought so, and I'm glad to hear you say you're gonna keep going
Oh,
because
sure.
it's clearly what you're passionate about. But if you decided, like, you know what, this is a good place to end my career, would you have been content with that?
I would have been content 5 years ago without this. I mean, I hadn't worked for 5 years. I thought, hey, you know what? I've had a good run. I've done better than most people. And what happens to actors is they get to a point after they're not working, they can't possibly envision a scenario where they could ever be hired by anybody ever again.
Hmm.
It gets to that. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'm older, and if I'm done, I had a good run. So this is even more so.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you had this experience then.
Ah, thank you.
So I'll end it off. I have two more questions. One of
Sure.
them is I think is just, it's very fun because you got the hot sauce right in front of you. So
Yes,
what kind of if you could have like any sort of sauce flavor of Rockin' Grandma's, what would it be?
the mildest one.
The mildest one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We
Probably
have that
this
in
one right
common.
here. Probably the sweet because I can't handle it too hot anymore, buddy. You know what
No,
I'm saying?
I can't either. I never
Yeah.
could. I'm terrible with spice. But if you could like just create your own sauce from scratch, if you were given ingredients, like what would you want?
Kind of a sweet and smoky with a little kick.
What fruit would be the basis?
Monsanto peppers, baby. That's it.
Okay, yeah, which Dougie Jr. does not use.
that that's exactly right. Yeah, so these are for sale now. They're on
Are
sale.
they?
Our Rockin' Grandmas is a real thing now. It's huge. They're on, dare I say, Amazon. They're selling them, and also Dave's Gourmet. You can go to davesgourmet.com and get these babies. They come in, so you can buy single bottles, a 4-pack. Now, I'm not promoting it like I'm a salesman because I
Hmm.
got no dog in this fight.
Yeah.
Now, Doug Womack, he has nothing to do with Rockin' Grandmas anymore.
I
So,
might,
but
yeah.
they're really good.
Yeah, I might have to check those out. I'm not sure what I would use them on. Maybe if I got like plain wings from somewhere and then I just put the sauce on myself. But yeah, I didn't realize that they were actually for sale, so I will probably most
Check it
definitely have to check it
out.
out.
And if you know what, if you're a person who doesn't like, the burning sensation of sauces, they have Rockin' Grandma's coffee mugs, Rockin' Grandma's t-shirts, Rockin' Grandma's hoodies. I mean, my daughter, I have a daughter, I'm not a son,
Hmm.
and she's and a lovely granddaughter. This girl, she's 8 months, and they're all wearing their Rockin' Grandma paraphernalia.
Oh, that's
So they look
adorable.
so cute, so cool.
Just a little like baby rockin' grandma shirt.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's adorable. I love that.
Yeah, a little toddler shirt. She's really cute.
That's very cute. I like that. Especially that they sell baby rockin' grandma stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I guess I'll end it off with so that I think this show and Jury Duty, even though they're very Truman Show coded, it's very real, and I like seeing real moments because in both the cases of Ronald and Anthony, it kind of showcases the best of humanity and what we do in times of uncertainty or just people who are going through it. And in the times we live in, a lot of people are struggling and there's a lot of
yes.
stuff going on in the world. What do you hope that people will gain out of a show like this that showcases just truly what humanity can be at its best?
Well, you totally nailed it with what you just said. The fact that the way people's lives are right now, everybody is just everything's so fast. Nobody has time for anybody, and people are emboldened to be rude and mean in social media because there's no price to pay,
Hmm.
and there's less and less human interaction. And this show shows, first of all, the workplace how people are the most important thing as opposed to the profit and productivity. In fact, Doug even says that. But uh, and then you throw in Anthony into the mix. This is a guy that, like you just said, gives us hope that
Hmm.
there is still humanity. There's still um, integrity, honesty. All these things. In fact, let me say one more thing. Do we have a second? I could say one more thing.
Absolutely.
And this is one of a large thing I see on like Reddit and different websites to a certain extent is that they doubt that Anthony didn't know.
Hmm.
Okay, they think that he was in on it. They think he was an actor or he at least knew and just played along. This man, he had such integrity and he was so honest that he was not capable of pretending to not know if he knew. The show would be over. He would not go on by fake that he was of such quality that if people would think it through, they'd realize there's no way that he knew.
Yeah, that's just the internet. People are so sure that there's something deeper or more
Yes,
sinister behind
and they're
everything. Even if
cynical.
it's, yes, even if it's something not that big
Mm-hmm.
of a deal like this, but like even if what does it matter even if he didn't know? But I mean, and you guys have no reason to lie. I don't think that you would go through the crew would go through years of planning, you guys months of planning just to have it all be fake. I don't believe
No,
that for a
they wouldn't do
second.
that, and the producers would never do that. We have some of the smartest men and women, the producers of such fantastic shows. The Office, Borat. I mean,
Hmm.
just the White Lotus. And these guys know they're as sharp as anybody comes. So they would know something's fake, and they're not going to allow something fake because fake
Hmm.
is fake, man. And this
Definitely.
this show is real. Like I always say, when Anthony came through that door, what you saw is what you got. Anthony's behavior in every single scene in this show was him. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He is the reason the show is a success. This outstanding individual, Anthony Norman. I just love
Yeah.
the guy.
Yeah, he seems like a great. I would certainly like just wouldn't mind meeting him and just sitting and talking with him. He seems like such a great dude. So
And
I
25 years old, man. When I was 25, oh God, I don't want to talk about it.
yeah.
To have the, and even Ronald even said when they were having coffee in the coffee shop, Ronald said that at 25, at your age, I was not the guy I am now. I had to work
Hmm.
to be what I am. So, and hats off to both of them either way, because time doesn't matter. If you get there, it's an incredible place to end up.
Yeah, definitely. Because, but he really did just showcase the best of what people can be. Because every time there was something uh, a little bit strange or out of the ordinary, he never judged anybody. And I'm like, he's a better man than I, because I don't know how I would react in this situation if I thought this was all real.
He's a better man than I am too. That's for sure.
That's really all I have, Jerry, or Doug in this case. Doug
Brandon, let me
Womack.
just say something to you that we're
Absolutely.
here and we're talking about the show, and the wonderful thing is that we're able to share this experience. I mean, this is what it's all about, because it means something to you, and it obviously means a great deal to me. And the fact that we got together to talk it out, now other people are going to see us, and
Of
then
course.
there'll be other reactions. So that's what it's all about.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
it's just like I said, it is such a gift and an honor to be involved with this project, and a gift and an honor to be talking with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
And I love that. I'm very thankful that you agreed to do this, because I didn't expect anybody from the cast to see my video, but whenever that does happen, I just love stuff like that. So like I told you, in this case, I had a lot that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to know
That's
more
great.
about the show. So the
Great.
the I don't think it could have worked out any better.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time and your support. It means so much.
No, absolutely. And I look forward to whatever it is your next acting gig is.
Well, thank you. But this one's not done yet. I'm riding this baby until, I'm riding this horse until
J-
it has to be put away in the barn.
just until the wheels fall off. So
That's exactly right. So,
like
and
you're gonna milk it.
we both know where each other are, so I'm sure we'll be in contact even more from here on out.
Oh, absolutely. If you
Yeah.
would love, if you want to, if you're up for that, I'm absolutely up for that. I love
Hey,
that.
just chat, just saying hi, and looking at all the posts and everything on I guess it's TikTok.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
I'm everywhere. This will be on my YouTube. Like the full thing will be on
Perfect.
my
Even better. Keep
YouTube.
me posted.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it'll be on my YouTube. I'll post clips on my TikTok and my Instagram to help spread
Awesome.
the word for sure.
Awesome.
And I'll
That's
send it all
great.
to my friends and family too, because they're very supportive of
Well,
these
tell
sorts.
everybody I said hello.
Oh, I will for sure. So, well, thanks for doing this.
Thank you. You never know. Your family may run into me in some restaurant someday, and I'll have to tell them who I
Maybe
am. Thanks, man.
for sure.